What's going on, Neon Nation? Welcome back for some more Cyberpunk 2077 and Cyberpunk lore. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the Rockerboys and Rockerboy class in Cyberpunk, Johnny Silverhand, one of the most famous Rockerboys, his role in the lore and 2077, and Samurai, a legendary rock band featuring Silverhand and some other notable characters. Before we start, just a heads up that we are on Twitter and Instagram, and Twitter is the best place to reach me if you guys have any questions, and we usually post some cool stuff like Cyberpunk write-ups, Cyberpunk word of the days, and other interesting stuff you guys might like, so head on over and hit up both of those after this video. Rockerboys are a class in Cyberpunk who use music in combination with a rebellious attitude to fight authority. Rockerboys live for rock and roll and are modern-day street poets who have the ability to spread their ideals, music, lyrics, and message to everyone. In a world where corporations rule with an iron fist, Rockerboys who are at the top of their game have a surprising amount of power and are able to amass followings to take down corporate giants and lead armies and troops onto the streets to fight the system. Rockerboys don't care about the repercussions of what they're saying in their lyrics. They'll spit in the faces of those abusing power, and they'll do it with a smile on their face. We won't be able to be a Rockerboy in 2077, but you can bet we'll run into Rockerboys and girls through our adventures in Night City. Powerful Rockerboys of the past in the world of Cyberpunk include Bob Dylan, Springsteen, The Who, Elvis Presley, and the Rolling Stones. Now, not all Rockerboys and girls are actually musicians. They can fall into the subsections of street poets, performance artists, social leaders, and politicians. Street poets are the most similar to their purely musician counterparts, but they use their words and only their words, propelled by their deliveries and theatrics to fire up the public. Performance artists make impressions and statements using plays, skits, and visual presentations before their public audiences. Social leaders are charismatic, rebellious higher-ups who are on the front line in the war against the greed and bloodlust of megacorporations. With their charismatic presentations, they stimulate movements and social change. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Che Guevara are just some examples of this archetype. Politicians of the Rockerboy variety are not corrupt or selfish in their pursuits. Crusading heroes like JFK and Winston Churchill are your role model as a Rockerboy politician, and your main focus is to righteously serve your people. Rockerboys have special skills in general, including the ability to brawl, play instruments, be streetwise, theatrical performances, and can be very persuasive and seductive. Their special ability stemming from the original tabletop game is a skill called charismatic leadership. Johnny Silverhand is a famous Rockerboy singer and guitarist known for his silver chrome cyberarm. He's also an ex-Central American vet with a history of failed relationships. Silverhand opposes Arasaka Corporation for a variety of reasons, from the loss of his arm to the death of many of his close friends. Now, Johnny eventually went on to produce a solo album, but before that he was part of a rock band named Samurai, featuring Carrie Uridine on vocals and guitar, Denny as a drummer, Nancy or Bess Isis as the keyboardist, and Henry on bass guitar. Samurai was first discovered in 2003 by Jack Masters, an executive at Universal Music, after seeing their performance at a bar called the Rainbow Cadenza, a backstreet bar in Night City. Their first single was Blistering Love and was a hit, skyrocketing to number 1 on the Euro charts. Samurai's first album was called A Cool Metal Fire and featured Dancing with My Axe, Never Fade Away, Out of the City, and the song we hear in the gameplay demo, Chippin' In. This presumably means we'll be hearing all the other songs on this album in the full release of Cyberpunk 2077. Samurai makes another appearance in the form of a samurai jacket in the gameplay demo, which increases our resistance to a variety of damage types and boosts our street cred values. Now, Samurai eventually split up in 2008. The catalyst to them parting ways was Nancy going to jail for 7 months after she threw her abusive husband out the window of an 83rd story apartment. The band supported her through this time, but creatively they all drifted apart to do their own thing. Henry ended up moving on to work on a human interface prototype, but an accident fried his brain and he had to rebuild his mind. Denny joined a band called Mastermind, and Nancy became a major media presence on Network 54, a prolific news station in Night City. Johnny Silverhand and Carrie Uridine both ventured off into solo careers, often performing and touring together. After Samurai split up, a media corporation called Diverse Media Systems attempted to sign Johnny Silverhand by any means necessary. This included threats, violence, and blackmail. They discovered the ex-Central American vet was actually a deserter who left the United States Marine Corps while still serving in the Central and South American wars. This led Johnny Silverhand to go public with the information and sign on to Universal Music, sending the middle finger to DMS and their sly tactics. Silverhand's first solo album, Sins of Your Brothers, was released in 2009 and included songs that explained the reality of the wars, governmental lies, experimental cybernetics programs for soldiers, and his own actions when he was involved. To be honest, this sounds pretty similar to rock and roll albums coming from real-life veterans or former military in our modern day and age. The album was popular enough to spread awareness of all of these issues. According to the lore, Johnny died in the early 2020s, but the revamped timeline and the fact that the radio announcer mentioned Johnny took his last ride a year ago might give us some insight that he's alive or was alive till later in CDPR's vision of the game. He's also an option for your childhood hero during the demo. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep an eye out for more lore focused videos in the future. As always, for everything and anything Cyberpunk 2077, follow the Neon Arcade.